Missiles started flying again. He became enraged. Today, while speaking with reporters, he got so worked up, he dropped a bomb of his own.
Yeah, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
The in-your-face outburst came as the president was leaving for the NATO summit in the Netherlands. Cable news show hosts were stunned.
This is one of the most visibly angry times I have seen him.
We got the full Trump experience just there, but
Social media lit up. Forget bunker busters. Trump dropped the biggest bomb of all.
Wow. He dropped the F-bomb. Woo. You know, I kind of like him more because of that. Go, boy. He had the ceasefire in place, and then Israel, I guess, decided to throw a few more bombs in there just for the hell of it. It pissed Trump off, and I don't blame him for that. It looks like we do have a ceasefire between Iran and Israel now. I hope it stays. The other thing is, was the nuclear facilities really obliterated, as Trump said? We all know Trump, he exaggerates a bit. He's a promoter, a marketing guy. That's what you do. You exaggerate everything. So did he exaggerate about this being obliterated, these sites? Well, here's what they say over at ABC News.
On tonight here, the new classified intelligence report, a preliminary report on what could be a reality check now on the U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities. President Trump had declared they were completely and totally obliterated. But tonight, sources say this new preliminary Pentagon report finds the damage was limited, saying Iran's nuclear program was only set back a few months. That daring military mission, B-2 bombers setting off from Missouri, deploying those 30,000-pound bombs for the first time on the battlefield. The satellite images showing the target sites, signs of damage, holes in the ground, but it remains unclear tonight just how much and what kind of damage they did below. Sources say the preliminary report also indicates much of Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed because it was likely moved before the U.S. attack.
Okay, that's ABC News, and we know that they hate Trump, and they're very liberal and all of that. But they make a lot of good points there. It's a good case. So how about the other side? Here's a guy that was on Laura Ingram's show last night on Fox News.
So how did this ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel actually get negotiated? We know President Trump was directly involved talking with Bibi Netanyahu, while Vance, Rubio, and my next guest talked with the Iranians. Here with what happened behind the scenes is Steve Witkoff, assistant to the president and special presidential envoy for peace missions. Steve, you have a lot on your plate, but you were tapped to help with this. Steve, this leaked intel assessment, it's an early look at what was actually accomplished on the ground. Your reaction to that, and I assume you know what we're talking about with this leaked intel report.
Well, it goes without saying that leaking that type of information, whatever the information, whatever side it comes out on, is outrageous. It's treasonous. So it ought to be investigated, and whoever did it, whoever's responsible for it, should be held accountable. It could hurt lives in the future. Leaking is a completely unacceptable thing. But let me give you, because I've read all the damage assessment reports from not just our government, but from other governments. And I'm not going to get into anything that's top secret, but let me tell you for sure what happened here. There are three distinct facilities in Iran that we were concerned with. Isfahan, which is a conversion facility. You cannot weaponize unless you have what's called the conversion process at the beginning of enrichment, and then a conversion process to metallicize the material at the end of enrichment. That conversion facility, which as far as we know is the only facility in Iran that can do this, was completely destroyed at Esfahan. It's above ground. It was hit with a 30,000-pound bunker buster, and it could not survive that hit. So they have no conversion opportunity, and that means they cannot weaponize, even if they've enriched to 90%. Then there are two other nuclear reactors in Natanz. One above ground and one below ground. The below ground one, we know we eviscerated, and the above ground one, which had been hit by the Israelis and had been substantially damaged, we put another bomb on top of it just to make sure that it was eviscerated, and we know for a fact it was. Fordo is the last enrichment reactor that was operating there. And we put 12 bunker buster bombs on Fordo. There's no doubt that it breached the canopy. There's no doubt that it was well within reach of the depth that these bunker buster bombs go to. And there's no doubt that it was obliterated. So the reporting out there that in some ways suggests that we did not achieve the objective is just completely preposterous.
Well, he seems to have more credentials than the ABC people, and he makes some pretty good points there. I hope he's right. I really do. I hope that it did obliterate that, and they won't be able to come back for a long, long time. But it's possible that the ABC report is correct. So I want to get the truth out, and I think we need a little bit more time to find out. Somebody's going to get in there, some intelligence people, and they have a lot of them in Iran, apparently, because people aren't very supportive of this regime, so it's easy to get spies. Other things going on in the world are New York City just nominated the mayoral candidate named Zoran Mamdani. He knocked out former governor Andrew Cuomo. This was a big upset. This is for the primary now, and here's what he'd like to do. He said he would freeze rent for all tenants in New York, and he would eliminate bus fares, create a no-cost child care. So let me tell you a little story. Many years back, when I was dating my wife, she was in California, and I was in New Jersey. I met her, and I'd go out and see her, and we would walk in Santa Monica, California, up and down along the ocean. It was so pretty. Such a pretty, pretty place. Well, then they elected a new mayor. His name was Thomas Hayden. At the time, the husband of Jane Fonda. What did he do? Among other things, I don't know everything he did, but I remember he put in rent stabilization, froze the rent for all the tenants in Santa Monica, and apparently there were a lot of them. So what happened? The owners couldn't do any upgrades, couldn't take care of maintenance. They just didn't have enough income over time, and so they just abandoned the buildings. So then they had all these abandoned buildings all over Santa Monica. It became an attractive place for homeless people. So all of the people were laying out there where I used to walk up and down along the ocean. They couldn't do it anymore. It was loaded. One of the most beautiful places in the world was loaded with all the homeless people, poor people. That's what happened to Santa Monica when you get this kind of stuff in. The liberals don't understand. You can't control rent. You can't control wages. You can't do anything. You've got to let the free market handle everything. So that's just the primary New York. They do have people running in the general election. Even Mayor Eric Adams is going to run as an independent, and Curtis Sliwa is running as a Republican. He's been running and losing for years. They need to get somebody better to run for mayor on the Republican side. I think they can win if they got somebody interesting there. But that's all I have today, and we'll try to keep you informed what's going on. Bring your comments in, subscribe to this. We're starting to grow and grow on the YouTube, and I'm very pleased about our progress. So goodbye for now.